How inflation's calculated anyhow.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee to order. And the first item on our agenda is to approve minutes of our June 4th and our June 5th meetings.
So moved.
Commissioner Schaefer, thank you.
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner B. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. The first, or the next item is to review the public hearing. And we did have a comment from one speaker who talked about our debt load. And I understand when you hear that number, that is a huge number. But when you consider the number of buildings that we have in our community and in our county that we are using and will be using for 20 plus or more years, I think you can understand the value. Mrs. Nolan and I just really quickly took an inventory of some of the buildings that would be included and would have been financed by some of our borrowing. And it's pretty amazing.
Okay.
And a little bit monotonous, but I said
monotonous.
I want her to look through, and I don't remember exactly how far you went back.
Well, I guess what I looked at is, it's 2014, and typically we schedule our debt over 20 years. So I won't go back 20 years. I'll just go back 10,
You gotta mention Central. Don't
Well-
I mean?
Well, yeah,
We
that was
should-
an improvement. So when you just say, what have we done, since, let's go, 2003.
And this is just schools at this point, right?
2003. Start backwards. These are the new buildings: Stewart's Creek High School, the Eagleville Addition, Buchanan Middle, Oakland Middle, Central Magnet renovation, Browns Chapel Elementary, Christiana Elementary Addition, Oakland High School Addition, Riverdale High Addition, Rockville Middle, Blackman High Addition, Laverne Lake Elementary, Smyrna Elementary Addition, Stewart's Creek Elementary, Stewart's Creek Middle, Laverne High Addition, Smyrna High Addition, Laverne Middle, Siegel High, Christiana Middle, Blackman Middle, Rock Springs Middle. That took us to 2002. So. Okay, 12
Some
years.
of this is something up
On the
here.
school side, county side, Lane Agri Park, the workhouse, juvenile detention, and the courts. We did Hoss Hill Pike, the archive building, Laverne Library, county clerk building, health department renovation, sheriff's admin building, and we bought that one. Pause.
I think there's something we need to put with that, especially on the schools, because we've heard about that a lot, that we build, basically, our high schools are larger than the surrounding counties, and per square foot, for what we have, we build them less expensive. And Central High was built in the 40s, and it's a frontline high
That one
school.
burned down. The old school burnt.
Maybe it's in the 50s, because it was a pretty new school
I'm
when I was
thinking,
there.
I'm thinking
I-
40s.
I thought it was as old as I am, so.
Was the old
It's
one
older
there,
than
or was
50s.
it,
Part of the old building was there when I was in high school in 57.
was that the one that burnt?
I thought it was.
No.
There's one across from Critchlow that burnt.
Yeah.
Yes, well, that was.
That was when they went over and built that school over there.
Right.
My mother was in the school that burned.
Well, we've done some
Quite a while
renovations,
ago.
but there it is,
Mhm.
it's still.
Mhm.
So when you think that we borrow over 20 years for buildings that is going to last far longer than 20 years, I don't think that that's such
You don't happen to have what our debt was in 2002, do you?
in 2002.
Compared to what our account, somebody on the insurance committee, we're worth something over $1 billion now. What our insurance is total on all the buildings and stuff like that.
Right.
So if you owe 327 million or whatever that number is, and you're worth 3 times that, so that's a good indicator.
Yeah.
And I would think that maybe in 2002, our debt to net worth may not have been as good as it is today.
Well, we know that we built 6 new schools and rehabbed 7 or 8 more, and we borrowed more than $150 million to do that, just that in the last 8 years. our debt is lower today than it was 8 years ago.
It's good. I know I counted the schools that we had built since '98,
Some back then, too.
and there were 18 schools actually built, and another 10 that were renovated and/or remodeled or added on to. So, I mean, it's huge numbers
You
of
know,
buildings.
it's hard to keep kids in portables,
We bought a few of them too.
you know, without building more building.
But we haven't bought any portables in several years.
Since before, the year before Laverne Lake. It's the last time we
Yeah.
bought
Oh,
portables.
405, something like
It was,
that.
no.
Oh, we're still using them.
Laverne Lake was.
Okay.
We're using, well, we're transferring them around
Laverne
too.
Lake
Yeah, we're
was like
moving it, but we
6
aren't
or
adding,
7.
we aren't adding
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
Because the middle was 4, and then Stewart's Creek and them were 5, weren't they? So Laverne Lake must have been 6.
But to get rid of all your portables, you gotta do something.
I
with it.
I wasn't
You'd have to
advocating, I was
build
just saying that
buildings.
we're still using them, we're not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's still property we own that we're got in use.
What's a favorite of the school board, though? They say if you have to move the portables, they fall apart on you. So that's buying new portables.
Oh, we've got population now, Rutherford County,
282.
282,000. So we had 2 people.
That was the census of 2010. wasn't it?
2010 was
No.
262.
Oh, 262,
But
okay.
I
So
read
282,
somewhere-
And we've got 2 people out of 282,000 people to come and speak on a countywide budget. I think that's,
But the,
says something really, really good about how things are being done and spent, and, I mean, there's the opportunity. So,
And remind us of how much in debt principal we're scheduled to pay off every year. Is it about
Well,
25,
it's
27 million?
27 million next year.
27 million next year.
Mhm.
Our debt payments are more than that, but the principal part's 27 million.
Yes.
I saw at the end of 2013, and it was put out by CTAS through, that they'd gotten the info that the estimated population was, at the end of 2013, which would have been 4 years from the census, was official, was 290,000 and some change. Is that wrong?
No, I think that's a bit high. It went up to 272 about in 2012, and they're saying it's 282 now.
Yeah, the one I read was for 2013, and it was 281 and maybe 5, somewhere in there. So.
Is that the beginning or the end when they do that?
I don't know, it's,
'Cause-
Well, gentlemen,
Yeah,
it
thank
was
you.
advertised that we would review the public hearing and those comments about the debt load and portables. Any other comments about those 2 topics at this point?
It just struck me as that, as those goals sort of being in conflict with one another. To get rid of the portables would require us to build new
Exactly.
schools. That would require our debt to go up.
Exactly.
For our debt not to go up, for us to pay down more on our debt, we would have to refrain from capital projects,
Mhm.
which would mean fewer new schools and more portables. So while I agreed with the statement wasn't, it didn't complement each other. It was in sort of, the statement sort of was contradicting
Mhm.
itself. So we're trying to find a reasonable balance in the middle where our debt is at a reasonable level, and yet we're providing the capital funding for schools that we need to minimize portables at the same time.
And along with what Mr. Baum said, is if we don't get more portables or build more schools and there's more kids in the classes than the state allows, then they fine us. Per day, not per.
Any other comments relative to that comment or those comments from that person? We did have another speaker who spoke specifically to the sheriff's budget and was concerned about the dry cleaning.
and before they discuss this, he mentioned the number $43,000. That was in the original request. What's in this budget that we've recommended is $34,000, so we've already reduced that amount by $9,000 when we went through the budgeting process.
let me ask you something, Mayor. I thought about that. Well, just said something good about the pen and it messed up, but anyway.
Don't say
They-
who gave it to you.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. There wasn't a dry cleaning line item before though, was there?
It's not a line item. It's under other contracted services. It's two
Mhm.
pieces, $2,000 for something small, and then he asked for 43,000 initially. We reduced that to 34,000, excuse me.
Well, I guess through the whole budgetary process, that's one of the items that I've heard more about is the uniform structure that they've got in
Yes.
uniforms as far as how much they are. And,
Yeah, private.
you know, a lot of it is folks that are telling me this, whether it's true or not, I need to, I guess, dig in and look and see. I mean, I'm hearing the blues uniform or whatever, this is the dress uniform, is about $1,500. I don't think I've ever seen any of them in the dress uniform. Is this something that's coming, I mean, is this something they just go to events to, or funerals, or, you know, I don't know. I don't know what they're for, but I did hear the sheriff say that he's got, you know, A, B, C, and D, or whatever type uniform packages and stuff, and it just seems like to me, with that many employees, even one uniform, it's a great expense. And then you're talking about 2 uniforms, then does everybody have 5? I don't think so, but what was in the line item, and
If you would like to go to your proposed budget,
Mhm.
remind me how we get back to that, Mr. Tucker.
It should just be to the 101
Go to 101, and I know it's page 50.
in the expense.
Go to proposed, go to expenditures, page
Uh-huh.
50, and it's line item 312.
Yeah, that's the dry cleaning part.
Yeah. That's other contracts with private agencies.
Yeah.
Find
Well,
uniforms.
we had that
It's-
discussion in public safety also on these uniforms, and my understanding was that.
Uniforms are 451.
Okay,
451 is uniforms.
Yeah, that's 36 is what we got in there.
but my understanding is
34
not
plus
all
2.
the officers are issued the class 1 dress uniform.
150,000.
I think only their officers are.
Yeah, 312 is contracts with other services, that's for the dry cleaning, and 451 is uniforms.
And you're on page 50 on the document
Page
itself,
50
not
of
page-
10101.
Not page 50 on the iPad. That may be,
Actually.
Page-
Actually,
Yes.
it's both.
Yes, it's
51 is
50
the,
and 51. Mhm.
Yeah, it's actually.
so is that all of that 150,000, is that what uniforms are?
Do we
All the
own-
uniforms, 150,000?
Do we own these uniforms or lease them or
We
through a
own 'em.
service? We own
We
them.
purchasing those. Now, I don't know where the uniforms for the inmates are. That may be,
They're in the jail part,
they're in the jail part,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay.
and it is prisoners' clothing, 441.
86,000.
Yeah.
I don't think we're dry cleaning those.
Well, we hadn't been dry cleaning anything, and that's the thing that,
But he's
Well, we
had
started
those,
dry
he's had those a
Yes.
couple of years or so, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
we've done that in purchasing at least a couple of years
Yeah.
ago.
is that the dry cleaning part?
Yeah.
312. Yeah, see, he's had that,
51.
I have to look backwards, but it looks like it was in there and,
Yeah, last year's budget was
Mhm.
37,000, that same line item.
So is this bid out, or is this,
they took bids on the dry cleaning.
If the uniforms are extremely expensive, it might make sense to dry clean them, make them last longer compared to wash them in a washing machine, and they'll last half as long. I'm not a clothes expert by any means.
Well, I don't think any of us could really defend what his use of the uniforms. You
Mhm.
know, some of them need to be here to answer these questions for me to be satisfied with it. But, you know, I have to say, I'm not real pleased or a fan of how many uniform changes they've had in the last few years.
Yeah.
You know, they changed the one, said, hey, this is gonna do it, it's gonna last longer. they basically, the sheriff's words, that they were falling apart on them, so they went to this other uniform. And, you know, we hadn't seemed to come up with a good match yet. At least that's my opinion from what I've seen.
It makes you wonder about the uniforms they had when the new administration came in 4 years ago. Did they just throw those out? We already had uniforms and we changed, so are those old uniforms? Was that in this mix of A, B, C, or D?
I don't know. I do know back when I was actively firefighting, some of the uniforms they had were poly. And we had a couple of guys that, you know, they would be on the scene before we would at times. And I actually gave some fire jackets to one or two of them because they kept burning holes in their uniform, getting too close, checking to see if anybody was in the building before we got in. So I know that there was a problem with some of those uniforms from heat and them being around it. But that's been a long time ago.
Any other comments, gentlemen?
We've got another meeting before we set the tax rate. This committee does, right? Next Wednesday? It sound good to me if we had somebody from the sheriff's department here to answer some questions about the dry cleaning and stuff. Because anything we can do tonight, we can do next Wednesday, I take it, so.
Well, I wasn't ready to throw out an amendment or a motion or something to not really throw a knee-jerk reaction into there, but I did want to question it again, because I've heard a lot of comments, and it's been ones that should know, and issues with it as far as all the different number of uniforms and what they have to have and don't have, and then the dry cleaning issue come up, you know, in our public hearing, and then has also come up prior to the budget situation too. So I wanted to bring that up. I would like some more information about it. I'm really uncomfortable with it, but not prepared to adjust it at this point or make a motion.
How many employees are at the jail or in the sheriff's department?
They've got more than 400 total.
Between the jail and the
Between-
sheriff's
yes.
department, you know. One thing about it is, we're just a big county. We've got large numbers everywhere. And if this was a small county with 8 or 9 deputies, you know, it'd be a couple of $100 or a few $100, you know, to clean the uniforms all year. And sometimes these numbers look a little high, but you realize you're dealing with 400 employees instead of 20. And it hadn't been that long ago, well, there probably was less than 20 employees when I was a little boy or something, you know, which wasn't that long ago. So we're dealing with, you know, it's a multiplication that gets us.
Yes.
So much a person isn't
Yeah.
that bad, but you multiply it times 400, that's when your problem is.
Well, you take a look at vehicle parts, and you're spending $40,000 more on vehicle parts, and look how many vehicles we got.
That's not much per vehicle.
That's not much, but
Yeah.
then you take, well, that's what we're spending in uniforms.
Mhm.
So it's kind of when you put it to that perspective, how much, I guess we do have some $1,500 uniform costs, you know, if you
And
look at it that way.
and I'm not sure we need to let them answer this, but I think when you talk about uniforms, you're talking about all the other equipment, et cetera, that goes with the uniforms. I mean, all these belts, all these things they're wearing, I think all of that adds in
Mhm.
as far as the, I don't think it's in another line item, is it?
Shoes,
Shoes and all of this.
belts.
Yes.
All kinds of things,
Vest.
vests, things that,
I
Well,
think
I
the
mean-
bulletproof vests are another line item.
they
But
may
Yeah.
be.
That's a
Law
whole nother,
enforcement.
because that's a whole nother
Mhm.
story, because they expire. And they're all right for somebody to wear on Monday, but if they expires Monday night, they've got to have a new one Tuesday. And of course, you got to do what's right and safe and all, but that vest didn't change that much overnight, but when the date is out, it's got to be gone, you know.
You want to be wearing it after it's run out.
I wouldn't want to wear it on a Monday when it's 12 hours from expiring, I don't believe.
Any other comments about the public hearing? Okay, the finance director has some review of the 2014-2015 budget, and if you will go to the overview, page 12.
If you're there, you see two things in yellow, which is just the revenue and appropriations hitting both. One for the Homeland Security $31,341, and then home grant, $120,000, both revenue and appropriation. The other thing in green, that, if you remember, that was for a roof that is, was going to go, it was in this year, but then rolled to next year. And I think they took bids yesterday, and that it was gonna be more than 80,000 that we had. And, not that I spoke to anybody official, but, and some of y'all might know that, Anthony, I think, was going to go to the Ag Board for additional monies.
Conservation Board.
Which board?
Wasn't it the Conservation Board?
Conservation Board.
Handles the money.
Okay,
over it.
Conservation Board, to ask for additional 10 to go in, so I was going to ask if we could go ahead and do the additional 10.
That comes out of
Subject to
their
them.
revenue and all,
That's
this
right.
this isn't out of undesignated or
Right.
taxpayer money, it's,
So-
the rents go in and do the
Right.
money that's not over
So that
there.
would pull that down. So, anyway, those were the only changes that I had.
And we sort of need to do that so we can get that approved and get that purchase order. We
Well,
really
that will
want, we
come
really want to do
July
the
1.
amendment now if we can.
Oh, you wanna do it now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so do
What was
it.
the bid?
Well, it's about $3,000, but there are some things that we don't know, some contingencies, like how much board has to be taken off and be replaced, whether we have to replace gutters and downspouts, so it would be something more than $82,000 or $3,000. So he's asked for $90,000.
And this comes out of, like I said a minute ago,
With the
out of their
community.
pool of money.
Mhm.
And what's not spent goes back into their pool of money.
Okay, so here was
So-
my, and we haven't spoken, but here was my thought on this. If we do amendment now, it won't be approved until the 27th. of
But we can wait
June.
till July the 1st, I mean,
So that's
no
what I
more
would
days than that
kinda
is.
just roll it
Okay.
and do it into the next year's budget.
Whichever way is most practical, we'll do it.
So do you need a motion now, or?
No,
No.
well, it's,
No, we won't have another meeting until August, will we? After the.
well, I mean, we'll put it in the budget.
Oh,
I
we
mean,
won't
that's,
put it
what
in
I'm
the-
trying to do is get it in the next year's
Do you
budget,
need
so.
a motion now to put this in the budget?
Yeah,
I make a motion to put $90,000 in the budget.
plus all the others.
This page is
The
presented.
thing, okay, the whole page, okay.
To increase 10,000 for the,
Roof on the agriculture building.
yes, and to add the Homeland Security, grant and home grant revenue and appropriation.
I second the motion. I'm on the Ag Board though, that's why I was.
I said the wrong thing.
He is also on the Ag Board, and it's like, well, this comes out of really that pool of money. That
Right.
comes out of that budget, not really this budget, so we just want to make that clear that, I know you know that, but
Other people don't.
other people
So
don't.
now they do.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Gentlemen, any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Samlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Yes. Mrs. Nolan, what else did you need to do?
I have one revenue change, and I don't know, is it in here, Mark?
Yes, it's in the first page of 141.
Oh, wait a minute, I know, I was in the wrong, I was going to ambulance, sorry.
Should be page 22.
Yeah. Page 22 of 29. And this change is to increase other state revenue. 589, 858, this is for general purpose schools. So then, that additional revenue, then ending fund balance is projected at 3.2%.
At least I've lost that somewhere. Is that, oh, you're on the revenue side.
I'm on,
That's right.
The overview.
I'm still in the overview.
Yeah, where we were, but here it is.
Page 22.
Okay.
Page
Yeah,
22
it is.
overview.
I might do it this way, maybe better.
Other state revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
all right, we have a miscommunication. I thought I was going to get to increase it that much.
No, I wish.
Oh, I was really excited. Okay, we'll have a correction, but we'll fix it, and I thought that's what, it's only 100 and something thousand?
181, 83,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We just lost
I misread the
$400,000.
email, yeah, I misread his email.
We just lost $400,000.
No, we gained 180.
You gained
But we
180.
didn't gain right at 600, but you,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really excited about that.
That's
Okay,
okay.
so we'll be making a change to the revenue of 180 something.
So we don't need to do that yet, till you get those.
Well, I
numbers.
mean, we'll
Yeah.
bring it forward.
Okay.
And really, what's most important, what we're bringing you with, is the appropriation resolution and the tax levy. But we'll,
This is on the good side.
It's
It's
on
on
the
the
revenue
positive
Yeah,
side.
it's on the
side.
good
Yeah.
side, so, yeah.
Jeff, if you know what it is, then I can
See,
tell
if
him what
Jeff
it
wasn't
is.
here, we'd had a penny place.
you're not gonna beat without Jeff showing up.
He's looking to see if he can find it, so we'll give him a second or two here.
We should be able to see that.
So that's leaving in their fund balance 9.2, somewhere in
It
there.
won't be that much when they do this.
Well, it'll be another 180 something.
Oh, yeah, the 3.2.
You're
saying, Vic, you wanna come
3%
up to
is
the table?
9.2. The
Right.
actual
You don't
number.
have-
You don't have it-
Was it 40
You don't
that
have-
far?
Right.
It's,
Yeah, we got.
you got the account number? Well, yeah, we got the account number here. Y'all just talk amongst yourselves.
We're bad about it.
I found it.
You found it?
I did. And I phrased it badly, I'm sorry. The total revenue number should be 294, 042, 718.
042,718.
Oh, he's going total revenue.
That's the total.
Top, the
revenue.
293 went to 294.
294,
Yeah.
042, 718.
Okay.
294,
294.
042,
042
718.
718. All right, so that's the new number. $183,715.
37,
Okay, that's the change. So 3.07%.
Still better than 3.01.
Good thing we're here.
We need a motion for that change, please. Gentlemen, we need a motion for that change.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Baum. Thank you.
Come on, that's a positive change.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan? Commissioner Jordan?
Yeah.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Yes.
That's it.
Do you have anything else?
I mean,
Mayor Burgess, do you have anything else?
No.
Members of the committee, is there anything else that needs to come before our committee?
If we, just hypothetically, change the tax rate that we're gonna look at to 2.49 instead of 2.4968, does that do
No.
anything?
Go the other way if you're gonna do something.
Leave it alone.
it'll be a
We don't wanna
reduction in
raise it.
revenue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Raising it 1,000th of a percent is a tax increase. We don't wanna have a tax increase.
For us, it doesn't, we can allocate that percentage pretty easily.
Any other business that needs to come before our committee? Gentlemen, our next meeting is Wednesday, the 25th at 5:30. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.